Good morning, Mr. President. It is November the 16th, 2017. It's about 9:05 in the morning. We're in front of the Christ Church Cathedral in downtown Vancouver. It's a beautiful church, Mr. President. I'll just show it to you. It's the Anglican Cathedral down here. And I just came, they had a Eucharist at 7:30 this morning. And so it's a beautiful church, as you can see. It's really quite nice. It's on Burrard Street, one of the major streets, I'm learning, in Vancouver, and it's a beautiful church inside. I went there for Sunday service this past Sunday, and they had a great service. Unfortunately, the CIA were running most of the service through the Illuminati, so it was quite, let's just say, tarnished. The reason I bring that up is I've been through, since I started in Vancouver Island, Summerside on the east coast of Canada. I've now traveled all the way to the west coast of Canada to Vancouver Island. And all through my journeys, every church service that I've been attending, both Anglican and Catholic, have all been severely bastardized by the Illuminati. They change gospel readings, they add parts to it, they delete parts, they delete readings from church services, and Mr. President, if you could believe it, they've actually even added their own chapter to the Bible. So where I'm going with this is a beautiful Anglican church, and they have been bastardized as well. They're not free to preach their services anymore. I'm learning the smartphone, by the way, so I'm hoping that I'm in focus. Here past the Illuminati right now. Just to make sure, like I said, Mr. President, I'm not allowed to have my own thoughts, my own actions, or my own emotions. They're all controlled by the Illuminati. Whenever I try to speak to God, or indeed put a video together to you, the Illuminati are quick to intercede. We won't lose track, though. They wish I were mentally insane, but not quite. Where we're going with this is I wanted to highlight, I put up 2 YouTube videos in the last 48 hours or so. I went to a Catholic church service here at the Holy Rosary Cathedral, which is the main Catholic cathedral in downtown Vancouver. So I went to that service about 2 nights ago. And it was, let's just say, I'll just be blunt, Mr. President, the Illuminati completely sodomized the whole Catholic Church service that day. They purposefully had a woman reading from, doing a rosary reading, who was taught to make sure that her words were indecipherable to anyone listening on. They then had an alleged priest run the service, and he made sure that his accent was so thick and his pronunciation so poor that you couldn't understand anything that he was saying. I did tape those 2, and I put them up on YouTube so that you could see the effect of the Illuminati violating the Canadian Charter right of free conscience. That is a key consideration here. It was about a week ago, Mr. President, remember, when I was kidnapped on Vancouver Island, and now less than a week later, my charter right to free conscience and my ability to go to any church service in Canada and have unimpeded access to God has been thwarted by the Illuminati. They're desperate to make sure that Canada becomes a satanic worshipping state. It's under Nazi rule already through the clone police all across Canada, and they are now aiming to take away all our religious freedoms and our right to free will, which is given to us by God. No human can take that away from us, is my firm belief. What I wanted to mention specifically, Mr. President, is that, and it doesn't come through in the 2 videos, because when I went up for communion, it was quickly orchestrated that I received communion from the originating Catholic priest that was in the cathedral. Indeed, the man who presented himself as being the head officiant of the service was not actually Catholic at all. He's not actually human at all. He's a clone. He's an Illuminati clone who took over the Catholic church service and ran it himself. Fortunately, the priest at the church refused to let him offer me the Eucharist because that would have been blasphemous, to say the least, and would have been a mockery of God, which is what the full intent was. I bring this up, Mr. President, because it's really important for the American public to know what's coming their way. This attempt to create a one-world religion, which is nothing more than satanic worship, is going to be implemented worldwide. It has started in Canada, and every church that I have been to, including Summerside, Prince Edward Island, including Toronto, Ontario, including Regina, Saskatchewan, including both Calgary and Edmonton, Alberta, and now here in Vancouver, British Columbia, every single Catholic and Anglican church service that I have attended, that's the Illuminati right over there, every Catholic and that's a knee-jerk reaction, Mr. President. You get used to that. After you live with these people for a while, you get pretty quick at reading them and anticipating them and feeling them. But what I was about to say is that every Anglican and Catholic church service that I've been throughout Canada, from one coast to the other, thousands of miles apart, have all been sodomized by the Illuminati. The Catholic and Anglican churches in Canada, and this will extend to the Jewish faith and the Muslim faith, excuse me, any person of any spiritual bent who does not sacrifice their own beliefs and prostrate them at the foot of satanic worship will be executed or imprisoned, like I have found. I have been falsely imprisoned now 8 or 9 times at least in the last 3 or 4 years, despite no criminal record, and despite my father being a career Toronto police officer. I suddenly, at the age of 48, found myself in prison time and again. This is the fate that awaits every American citizen. If you do not give up all of your faith, whether you are Jewish or Muslim or Christian, and prostrate yourself at the foot of the Antichrist, you will be imprisoned or murdered. It is a serious message, Mr. President, and I send it with deep heartfelt sincerity and love to the American people and the American government, the good parts of it. This is something, what I could suggest is, Where's My Canada sending the United States a warning. Proceed on the current path, and I am your fate. If you do not take up arms in this holy war that the world is now waging against the Antichrist, then you should be prepared to face imprisonment or death unless you accept satanic worship as your key faith. Another point, they had a breakfast this morning, so thankfully, Mr. President, I was able to get some food today. I got an egg. Their eggs have very significant meaning within this Nazi camp of Canada. And the reason is because the egg is a symbolic token of the cloning that's going on. That basically, and this has gone on for several decades in Canada. It's not new. It has not just arrived over the recent years. Several of my friends have had all of their hospital records from their childhood destroyed in mysterious fires all across the country. There has been cloning going on in Canada for quite some time. And the egg the Illuminati are very sensitive about this, and whenever you see an egg reference or an egg commercial or an egg advertisement, it's a joke, it's a mockery of the fact that they're using humans to clone to prepare for their Illuminati army. So I did have a breakfast. I did have an egg because to me an egg is just a source of protein. It's not a religious significance token. But I did have some toast and some cereal, and so that was good because I haven't eaten really since Sunday. Just chips and some donuts. And so it was nice to have some bread for a change. So I had a good breakfast, so I thank the folks here at Christchurch Cathedral because I can look beyond the surface and see the true feeling of the Christian faith of both the Anglican and Catholic churches that I attend throughout Canada. But I did have breakfast, and so that's good. I will have to panhandle for a bit of time to get some money for food for the rest of the day and a coffee or a drink. But I'm at an inflection point here, Mr. President, because my next move has to be determined. Where do I go to find the 35 million missing Canadians? I still can't find them, sir. I'm supposed to now, I'm getting the sense, that's the Illuminati want me to climb up mountains now to find the Canadians way up in higher altitudes, which I'm not sure is the solution because I was in Whitehorse, as you know, and that altitude is quite high, and I didn't find any Canadians there either. So, Mr. President, my question then is, if I try to enter the United States again, will I be refused? If I try to seek political asylum in the United States by crossing over from Vancouver south, will the Department of Homeland Security agents turn me away again? That's one question. And the other question is, well then, should I just take a flight and get down to Mexico? Maybe I'll find the Canadians there. Perhaps, Mr. President, this morning, it's November 16th, maybe you could ask your White House staff members to investigate where the 35 million missing Canadians have gone to, because I still can't find them, sir. I've been all over this country. I've been gang-stalked for 6,000 miles by the Illuminati. I still can't find these missing Canadians. It's like, where's Waldo, sir? I keep looking around, where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? I keep looking at photos, I keep looking at different landscapes. I've traveled across prairies, across mountains, across lakes, across rivers, across streams, across altitudes, 4 different time zones, 5 different time zones. I've traveled 10 degrees higher in latitude, over 10 degrees. Mr. President, I still can't find these missing Canadians. It's like a bizarre Where's Waldo story. So perhaps the White House could be put, some junior members of the White House that are maybe working just on internships could be tasked with the challenge of helping Where Is My Canada find the 35 million missing Canadians. They're not in Vancouver, sir. There is nobody living in Vancouver. I assure you of that. I have walked around this place and the whole harbor is empty. There is nobody in Vancouver except the clones and the Illuminati and me. I'm going to have to go across the street here. I'll show you, Mr. President. Across the street here is Tim Hortons and a McDonald's. So we're going to go there and spend maybe an hour or so and see what luck we have this morning getting some change so I could get a coffee during the day. I did get a doggy bag. The church let me take a few pieces of toast. So I've got some bread to eat during the day, which is a nice thing. And we'll figure out what to do with our day. Fortunately today, it's not raining yet. Yesterday, we held off for just a short period of time, and then the clouds came on, and we got rain for the rest of the afternoon and evening in Vancouver. But today, so far, it looks like we might have a nice day. The sun's coming out in small patches here and there, and with any luck, sir, by the end of the day, it will be sunny again. Have a great day, Mr. President.